I love that little transition. Hi, everybody. Happy
Hey.
95 Day. Oh my gosh.
Yay!
This is so exciting. Okay. Okay, we're gonna do quick intros and then we're gonna get straight into demos. We're gonna do Q&A as we go. It's gonna be a big party. As you can see, we have a whole bunch of folks from the Aspire team here. And so you don't have to just listen to me and Fowler kind of go like this at each other. We're gonna do a tight hour. Okay, people will be in and out, so we're not going to do 5.5 hours of fighting with reverse proxies. We're gonna be in and out. And so first, I just want to introduce everybody because a bunch of you, I think, have only been on the streams once or twice. So I'm Maddie, PM Aspire, and my favorite 9.5 feature. That's what we'll do. I've just decided. I'm so sorry. My favorite 9.5 feature is the single file app host. It's pretty lit. So, okay, Eric, you want to introduce yourself?
Yep. So I'm Eric Earhart. I'm a developer on the Aspire team. My favorite 9.5 feature is probably the Gen AI dashboard metric or logging stuff. Like I think.
Did James pay you?
No, I still think it's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Do I get to pick next, David?
Yeah. Hi, I'm David Nexted. I'm another developer. I'm store brand David. I work on the orchestrator and the stuff that's kind of hidden in the background, keeping everything running when you F5 locally. And I think my favorite 9.5 feature, it's not something that we will really be lighting up until the next one, but getting the ability to start pushing certs into containers and the initial groundwork for that.
It's so funny. That is such a low-level, non-user-facing feature. I love it. It's on brand though. It's on brand.
That is my world. I'm in the I want to do all the complicated stuff and make sure nobody else has to think about it.
Yeah. And I really need you to do that so that I don't have to think about it anymore. So
yeah, we appreciate you for that, David.
That's pretty awesome.
Okay. If you're store brand David, then Fowler is like 5 below brand David.
I'm David. I'm David Zero. I'm David Zero.
Yeah. David Prime. Introduce yourself. Who are you? Do we know you?
The best feature is dev tunnels.
Oh, that is.
I love it. I've been using it for all kinds of crazy stuff, just like MCPs, webhooks, just messing around with it. So
he's been texting dev tunnels at like midnight my time and being like, "LOL, look at this," and then the next day being like, "It's still alive," and I'm like, "What are you doing?" Dev tunnel, bro. Oh god. Okay, Seb.
I'm Sebastian. I'm a dev. I work for David, Jose, and Eric. The rest, they work for me. And that's true, actually. And my favorite feature, I don't have any, actually, because I didn't ship anything. So I won't say my best feature, my favorite feature is whatever is shipped in 9.6 or whatever version it is. It will be the best.
You are the worst.
I know, right? I was gonna say did you even read the what's new?
I did.
Didn't you ship strongly typed?
No, yes.
AI catalog?
Well, that's not a favorite thing. It's just enums, right? Who cares? Enums.
It's just enums. Who cares? I care.
It's not actually implemented as enums, isn't it? Statics internally.
Yeah. Well, it looks like enums. It's like enums, right? It's static strings, but whatever. Doesn't even work. Eric found out, so.
He fixed it though.
Yeah, some things work. Some things.
It worked for me.
Some of them work only locally, and some of them only work remote, and so.
Yeah. All right, Safia.
Cool. I'm Safia. I work on Aspire. I have to correct the record. I do not work for Sebastian. He said he works for Jose, Eric, and David, and everyone else works for him. That's not the case. I totally work for myself. Okay, favorite Aspire feature that's shipping in 9.5. If I were gonna self-glaze, I would say that it would be all of the deployment stuff. If I were not gonna do that, I would say it would be the file-based apps. File-based app host. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm gonna self-glaze. Who needs AI?
Yeah. You gotta love yourself first.
All right, Joe, you ready?
Yeah, so I'm Jose. I also go by Joe. I'm the engineering manager on the team. I'm usually the guy that pushes the buttons and makes sure that everybody else stays on track. And
he's the adult.
He's the adult in your room.
Guy.
Yeah.
It's not super fun, but yeah, I get to see
It's necessary.
We love you for it, Jose.
everybody else. And I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna actually switch it up in terms of like Aspire features. My favorite one is actually one that we don't necessarily ship per se, but it's this release we added the ability to dog food PRs to be able to like just pull the build out of a PR and be able to test it out, test the changes, and play with it locally. So I think that's made the team super efficient. So I'm gonna call that as my favorite feature.
It's so fun.
So,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, and Mitch is in the chat. He says, "Hello from my car. I can't hear you."
Mitch, put the phone down.
Thanks, Mitch. I know. Put the phone down.
That better be.
Lamington on Prime, that was his name.
That's Mitch.
Remington Prime.
Don't toss the dude.
So okay,
He's
Eric,
not
I
doing
know
this
I told
like
you
on a
we'd
road
get
trip.
you demoing within 10 minutes. It's been 11 minutes, but like it's okay. Can you stay for like 3 more minutes to demo, and then we can send you off to have your like family evening?
Yep, for sure.
All right. Share your screen. We're gonna get started. I have a variety of things. I don't know which of them I'm gonna show. Please feel free to Q&A in the chat as well. Yeah. All right, you ready?
Am I sharing? Did it
Yeah.
send? Okay, there we go.
Can you zoom
All right,
in
so
a little bit?
yeah.
Control Shift. Yeah, nice. You got it. Nails.
Okay, so the first feature I wanted to show is something that's kind of there's two pieces to this feature. One is this is the very simple, the starter app, right? Like we have add Redis, there's a back-end API service, and there's the front end, that uses the Redis cache to cache responses, right? And so the first feature that we did is there's been an Azure managed cache for Redis in Azure for a long time, like many years. But they just came out with Azure managed cache now, or Azure Redis Enterprise, and so we added support for now. You don't need to use kind of the old broke Azure Redis, or the one that like takes forever to spin up and uses a lot of memory and whatever. So there's this new Azure Redis Enterprise, and you can still do the run as container. So that way, when I run locally, it still runs as a Redis container locally, but when I publish, it uses the Azure Redis Enterprise. I'm not going to do that for right now. I'm actually going to use Azure Redis Enterprise. And so that's number one, is support for Azure Redis Enterprise. The second thing that we did is we looked at it, and using managed identity with Redis has been just an absolute pain for people. And so we're actually going to make that better. And so the way we made it better is existing, we had this add Redis distributed cache or output cache, or just add Redis client. So we changed it up, and we have an add Redis client builder, which doesn't with add Redis client builder, you can start chaining things onto it. So you can say with output cache, or one of the big things that we've had before too is, I actually don't have it, but there's a distributed caching. You can actually make distributed cache. IntelliSense it's going to take a while to build up. You can now have like key distributed caches based off of this. So you can key your Redis connection or key your distributed cache connection. But more importantly is when you want to use Azure, we have this with Azure authentication. So now you can configure Azure authentication on this Redis connection independently of whether I used output caching or distributed caching. So this API allows us a little bit more flexibility in like how you configure up, how you add on new things to these Redis connections. And so I'm actually in shortage of time, like I'm not going to actually run this, but it works. I guess you just got to trust me. But if you're using Redis in Azure, take a look at the new integration that we have, this Aspire Microsoft Azure Redis cache, Redis Stack Exchange Redis.
I mean, people will just have to try it if they don't believe you. That's right. Like,
Right.
It is
Exactly.
amazing. Like I think we've known about this since like the first version, and you kind of have to smush multiple libraries together to make it work. And there's a whole bunch of code you have to write to kind of just get it working just right. And if you consider local dev versus when you deploy, having to change between the container without it and adding it. There's a lot of things you have to kind of figure out to make it work end to end. So this kind of does all the right stuff in the right cases.
Yeah.
I accidentally used it the other day and it worked. And I was like, what is this? I didn't think this was what this was. And then I was like, oh my God, we have a new integration.
So yeah, you can kind of see here. I did run it. I ended up running it. You can see when I hit my weather endpoint that this first time it established the Redis connection, did a get, didn't find it, actually hit my back end, and then did this set ex to actually set the stuff. And then the next time it didn't. These other times it just got it from Redis. And you can kind of tell that it is actually hitting Azure because these things are taking like 150 milliseconds to hit the cache. So
yeah. Wow.
So that's feature number 1. So we added some more Redis. Feature number 2 that I want to show is we added support for Azure Container Apps, what's called Container App Jobs. So normally when you run an ACA, your program like runs all the time, right? Like it's a web server or it's a background server that's just running all the time. With Container App Jobs, you can say, I can manually kick these things off. So these are more like console apps that run for a finite period of time and then shut down. And so you can say, if you just say run as Container App Job, it's manual, so you have to manually kick it off every time you run it. There's also a publish as scheduled Container App Job, so it takes a cron expression. So if people don't read cron, this says run at every 30 minutes, like 30 minutes after the hour or whatever. And so in this stupid app, I just have a storage queue, right? I have add Azure storage, and I added a queue. And then I have a front end that has a web page that you can just type in a message and hit go, and it'll send the message to the queue. And then this scheduled job every 30 minutes will kick up, look for anything in the queue and process it, right? So that's fine, but there's some more power with these Container App Jobs. You can actually, so there's the manual, there's the schedule, and then there's what's called eventing. And so I have a little bit of code here to make that work. And why is that not working? Oh, right there. So what this code does is it configures the Container App Job to switch to this event type trigger, and then making an Azure queue rule that this job will automatically spin up every time the queue gets to, in this case, 1. So every time there's some message in the queue, the job will spin up and process the queue. And then when there's nothing left in the queue, it'll shut down. And so this is for like things that, you're not processing a bunch of queues, like, thousands of messages a minute, but every once in a while you have to light up and start processing the queue.
This is super
So
cool. That's working?
Yeah, this works. And so I took this app and I deployed it, which Safia is going to show, but I can say, hello. And so send message. And so this is actually, hitting really running in Azure. It actually sent it to Azure Queue. And so all the processing does is it sends out, it just writes to the console. And so if I go look at my processor, this is a Container App Job. I can go look at my processor and I can see the execution history. And so here you can see the queue, spun up. So this thing's starting up and it's running. And then I don't really like the UI for these logs, but this is kind of what you get with the logs. You can see here, successfully process the message. Hello, Spire folks. One caveat here is the dashboard in ACA isn't updated for these yet. Like you can see the front end here, but you can't see the Container App Jobs. So, but that's coming from the ACA team.
So could I use that to restart my Minecraft server every night?
Yes.
Yes.
On cron.
That's all I care about. Thank you very much.
Okay, I gotta go coach some football.
Wow,
Thanks for
Nice.
having me.
fun.
Maddie, you
Bye,
could
Eric.
use a container app job and a dev tunnel. I'm just
To
kidding.
send blue sky messages.
Wait, I could use a dev tunnel to make everyone play Minecraft with me. Right? Fowler, because you joined like late to the party and Jose too, I did in fact get the Aspire dashboard to send a tweet for me. So, or a blue sky, sorry, a skeet.
Wow.
A skeet.
So that was fun. So all of the skeets you saw after like 4:30 p.m. Eastern time are from the Aspire dashboard running locally in a single file app host on my machine.
You mean the Aspire SharePoint CMS?
Yes, the CMS. The Aspire HubSpot, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Who's next? Who wants to go next?
I can talk about deploy.
Okay. All right. Let's stick with the cloud. Stick with the cloud.
Yep. I think you can show my super white
screen.
I used a light theme.
Blank, and I didn't know why.
Okay.
Can you zoom in, please?
This is. You need a bigger font size, David?
Yeah, I can't see that.
Okay. It's
Too
okay. Okay, so let me know
Perfect.
how big you want it. Is this big?
Perfect.
That's big enough?
Yep.
It's important to, respect the elderly.
Is this fish?
When you're demoing. Yes, I'm a fish shell girly. Hey.
I feel like I knew that, but at the same time, like, why?
Do I not come off like a fish shell? Because it's better. It's got better defaults. You don't have to configure tons of craziness.
Interesting. Huh? I've always liked it. I'm Zeesh by default, just because I'm lazy.
I'm a fishy person.
Is it actually called Zeesh?
Yeah.
Is that what people call it?
I guess it's seashell, but you could say Zeesh.
On SQL?
Zeesh.
Do people call it Zeesh?
Zeesh.
It's Zeesh.
I like Zeesh. It's cute.
Is that not what everybody calls it? I always called it Zeesh.
I always call it either ZSH or Z shell. I don't call it
Zish.
Zish.
Brian
Zish.
Zish. No.
There you go. Okay.
All right, Fishy. All right, RuPaul. Whatever you say.
So fun things that are coming in Aspire 9.5 is built-in support for deploying to Azure with the Aspire CLI. So I've got an app host here. It's got a couple of things going on. It's deploying to a container app environment. I have a storage account with a blob. I have a Cosmos DB instance, and I have the API service in the web front end, like super basic Aspire sample. And so if I hop into this and if I do Aspire deploy, it'll start kicking off a flow that will deploy all of the infrastructure resources that are in my application to Azure, build all of my container images, push them to ACR, and deploy my compute resources. What you're showing here is some of the interesting stuff we did around bridging the interaction service that we talked about in 9.4 that you can use to show prompts in the dashboard for different selections and things. You can use that same interaction service to send out prompts to the CLI. So this is like a multi-select interaction service request for letting me pick which Azure location I want to deploy this service to. When you do Aspire deploy, you'll typically get prompted for your subscription, your location, and your resource group. It didn't prompt me for subscription here. That is because I've actually saved it in my app settings, which it will read from. I did that just so you all don't see all of the subscriptions that I have access to and pwn me, but typically you would be prompted to pick your subscription. So I can pick where I want to deploy to, and then the resource group that I want to deploy to, I'll just use the default name here. And then it will kind of prompt me, oh, this is interesting. It'll examine my application model, and it's picking up on the fact that I have this weather API key parameter that I'm passing to my API service. And I haven't provided a value for this parameter in configuration anywhere. So it's like, okay, if you want to deploy, you need to go and provide this value. So I can go ahead and do that. I'll just do this is a test. No, and then it'll kick off deploying. While it's provisioning all of my services, I want to talk a little bbit about like the behind the scenes of this. So there's a lot of code sharing that's happening between the deploy command and what happens in run mode when you're provisioning Azure resources. So the same component in Aspire that we use to do local provisioning is also helping us do deploy time provisioning here. And this prompting experience that I went through for all of the unresolved parameters, that is also shared with code that is in run mode in the dashboard. So you'll kind of see the interaction in the dashboard as you'll get the notification that says you've got unresolved parameters, you need to provide values for them, and you'll see similar messages. You'll also get prompted to save to user secrets. This is kind of a weird artifact of the code sharing that we're doing right now, which is like saving to user secrets doesn't really make sense in deploy mode, which is why I said no. But because that code is shared between run mode and deploy mode, you kind of get this experience. You're going to see this evolve a little bit in future versions of Aspire as we like sort out how we model deployment state in the app host and all of that good stuff. So it just finished provisioning all of my Azure services, and it went through and it built my container images, it authenticated with ACR, and now it's pushing the images. So all of these are kind of like well-defined steps for how you deploy a pretty basic service. In the future, we want to eventually support customizing this with additional steps or different modes of things. So you can imagine one mode is you want to build Docker images for compute resources and push them to container registries. Another mode might be you want to build static files from a static site generator and push them to a storage account or a CDN or what have you. So some of those things you'll see us building upon in like future releases. And my deployment finished. You could see it gave me pointers to the URLs where my API services and where my front end services, and it also gives you like a link to the dashboard, which I'll click on. But because I'm not sharing my other window, you'll just have to trust me that it works. So yeah, that is kind of the first preview of Aspire Deploy in 9.5. There's going to be some fun stuff to fast follow on in the next release. We talked about deployment state. Another thing is I'll try and link to the issue in the GitHub repo for Aspire, but there's some like fun thinking to do around the user experience. You can see like the current UI has some technical limitations that make it hard to scale if you wanted to do multiple steps or steps that depended on each other, and it kind of takes up a ton of space. So you'll probably see the UI change a little bit too in future versions. I guess one thing, if we have time, I'll like talk briefly about it, even though it's probably not super fleshed out, is CI/CD. So there is a little bit of a CI/CD story for this, very similar to what you would get with AZD Up or I don't know, FlyIO is like another tool that I've been using. You could do like one shots of exactly what you saw with Aspire Deploy locally in CI/CD. So you can set it up to do Azure login with the Azure login GitHub action. You can acquire the Aspire CLI and you can call Aspire Deploy and CI with environment variables for all of the things that I would have provided as parameters with the interactive experience when I was doing deployment. So you can kind of see we're starting to think about like how would a CI/CD based deployment experience for Aspire look like and what that might evolve and be in the future. So more on that also. There's a lot here. Deployment's kind of a fun space to do stuff in.
Safia, one thing
And
you
I'm
should
excited
add,
for stuff. Oh, yep.
one thing you should add is that running Aspire Deploy does not deploy to Azure. All the logic for going to Azure is in the Azure specific packages.
Oh, that is a good point. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what David was saying there, and we could see it if we scroll up a little bit in our output. You'll see here it says analyzing model found one resource that supports deployment, and it's this Azure environment resource. So all of this behind the scenes is driven by these things called deploying callback annotations, which is you can register annotations in your app model that describe the behavior that you want to happen during deployment. And in my particular case, I just so happen to have discovered the Azure Environment Resource, which has that annotation. That resource type is automatically registered into your app model anytime you register a type of Azure resource. So if you're calling Azure Storage or Azure Container App Environment or anything like that, it will register the Azure Environment Resource. And like that's the thing that's actually driving this entire process. It's driven by code in the app host or in the Aspire model, not by like logic in the CLI. So that's a pretty neat thing. And you could see that because like the interaction service is a thing that runs in the Aspire app host or the app model, and you saw it in action there. So yeah, that's a good thing to call out.
And so what that means is like, I mean, we're doing Azure, right? Because it's easiest for us to test. And we work really closely with the AZD folks who have done this for Azure specific apps. So Azure's kind of our first end-to-end of Aspire deploy we have. But the way that we've been building this, and Safi's doing a lot of work to make sure that this is abstractable. So anyone can go in and plug in the steps and the tasks and the resource. And, you know, as long as you analyze or whatever we say, these are the steps that probably have to be done, as long as your stuff works with that. It's the same way the Docker Compose publisher works. It's the same way the Aspirate stuff.
Kubernetes.
Kubernetes, yep,
Kubernetes
exactly.
publisher.
Yeah.
And so, you know, as we add more publishers, this will be more than just Azure, of course, but that's the first one we've really end-to-ended so far, and it's super awesome.
I have a hack version deploying a Docker Compose based app to a VM, just to flesh out that this can work for more than just Azure. So like I think once we get the API settled, people should be able to build more of these like pipeline template things.
Yeah. I think your example is cool. I wrote a blog post about using this stuff to do what I was talking about earlier, like deploy a static site to Azure Storage with Front Door as a CDN. So like it's like the sky's the limit. Anything you could write in C# code, you can like implement as a deployment pipeline, and then you can go nuts with some of the stuff we provided to let you render like the UI as outputs or like do prompting or all that fun stuff.
That's so awesome.
That's the end of my demo.
So, quick question, Safia, that might be something that like people in chat are also asking about, but in the state of 9.5, how does it, like, what happens if you want to now redeploy this app? Or maybe you would just want to change the API service. And so maybe be worth to chat a little bit of what the experience is like right now in 9.5 and what the plan is going forward.
Yeah, that's a good question, Jose. So one of the things that is lacking in 9.5, and we've got an issue tracking it for the next release, is there is no support for deployment state. So what you will see happen is the next time I run Aspire deploy, it will ask me to provide the region and provide the resource group as if, you know, those values were never provided before. You can see it'll prompt me for that again. And when it comes to provisioning the actual resources, it will start to, and of course, it asks me for the API key as well. So it'll re-prompt me for everything. And it will also try and like provision the services to Azure. So it'll send the request up to Azure to deploy the services. Azure does have some logic that checks to see, hey, you've requested to deploy something, but it's pretty similar to what's already there. So I'm just going to return right away. So that's why you'll see the second time you deploy, usually most resources take less time because of that built-in logic in the Azure deployment engine that can do that diffing. But that diffing does not happen client side locally in the CLI because we don't have support for deployment state. So that is kind of one of the gaps you'll experience is you will get prompted for things more than you would like. You can solve for some of this by putting things in app settings, although that's kind of a partial workaround. You could also put them in environment variables, so anything that would be read into iConfiguration in .NET. You saw a little bit of that in like the deploy, where we pass things in like the iConfig key format. So that is one way you could work around the parameter thing. But yeah, no deployment state in 9.5. So you'll kind of see deploy behaving in a way where it like thinks every deployment is fresh every time you do it.
This is so awesome. Someone in the chat. Can we get GitHub Actions to support Aspire file-based apps as
Oh my
a CI
gosh.
scripting tool?
David, you should have been in our meeting yesterday. That was
We
like
can't have
3
any more
hours
Davids,
long.
actually. No more Davids allowed. You'd have to change your name, but you should have been in our meeting yesterday.
That's true. We should have a David cap.
Yeah.
But yes, I think that is an interesting idea. It may be a thing soon. Question mark.
Oh my gosh. Amazing. Amazing. Okay. I want to put your screen off in
Yep,
case the
go
next
ahead.
demo is not in light mode. And so that way people's eyes don't fall out of their heads. Who's next? Who should I go?
Maddie.
Okay. I'm gonna show two. I'm gonna show two things. I am not actually Safia had like a talk track. I don't know what that's all about. Oh, let me switch this to the other side. I don't know, Safia. That was very nice that you had a talk track. I'm
It was
just going
just
to
the app.
click
but-
around. First and foremost, this is an app that I opened right before this live stream started, so I could show my new favorite command. Well, besides the single file stuff, Aspire update, because I am lazy. And because for months and months, and if Damien wasn't on a long weekend right now, you would all be able to feel his rage whenever we talk about how hard it is to update and how so many people are still on Aspire versions from a year ago. And so, because the thing is, the NuGets you can update, but this SDK thing you haven't been able. We don't have an automated way to update. And so we said, Mitch, make it so, and Mitch built us update in the CLI. And so now I can just type Aspire update. And this is really cool. I can update it to any of the channels, right? Default, stable, daily. And then this is the PR thing that Jose was talking about at the very beginning. Like you can now have local builds for each PR. And it just edits your NuGet config. Like it doesn't do anything fancy. So we're going to go to stable. I haven't tried this. Why is my terminal so dramatic? It's going to tell me the packages. Look at that. Oh, AI Foundry is still in preview. That's very good. Perform updates. Yes. Which directory? That is where my NuGet config is. Yes. I didn't know that command. Did it work? Oh my God, it worked. It actually worked. Is it going to run? This doesn't do community toolkit yet. And if we had like a live cam on Aaron right now, because he's literally pushing the buttons to release the community toolkit as we speak, he would have grimaced and been like, I hate you. It doesn't work with the toolkit yet. It will one day. And now I should hypothetically be able to just Aspire run. Hypothetically. Oh my gosh. It's going to work.
And just to add while this is running, one thing it also does is if you pick a channel that requires a special NuGet feed, like for example, you want our nightlies, it also takes care of that for you. So it'll create a NuGet config and add the feed for you.
Yeah.
And it does work with CPM because I see.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good call. It does work with central package management, which someone in the Discord earlier, aka.ms/aspire-discord, was talking about CPM and stuff. And so something we have to go figure out maybe. But this is a crazy app. This is NPM Vite front end with all the toolkit shenanigans in here, Node plain old backend, and then a UV Python app that is a script that calls into an agent hosted in Foundry, Azure AI Foundry. And I always tell people, they're like, why'd you use Foundry? And I'm like, because I have like $100 free to spend on Azure a month or whatever. Like, of course, I'm going to put it on the free one. And the agents like place their little bets. I mean, only the Python one works. The other ones don't work. I get kind of stopped at some point, but nice. Thanks, Pat Python. So helpful. So now it's running 9.5 and I can prove it because it says it here. Whoa. So that's cool. That was like 2 whole seconds of demo. The other thing I want to show is single file app host. So Damien went like low-key viral at build. Nope. That. Clear. Damien went, and I can't type, and I need to zoom in, and I need to open my pets. Let me add a pet here. I only have my dog. I'm going to add Clippy. I'll do brown Clippy. Okay. I built this afternoon. So Damien at Build showed a quick 15-minute demo of .NET Run App CS, I believe is the name of the demo. What we did was we turned C# into a scripting language. And then Fowler tweeted, Python, we're coming for you. And it was like his most engaged tweet ever, I believe. So that was insane. Anyways, you can now have a single file app host. So there's no CS proj here. There is the second file. So every time we call it single file, Damien gets mad because it's technically called file-based apps because it's 2 files, but it's a single file. So this is what replicates like the launch JSON stuff. This is the actual app host. And the only change here is that I have to declare the SDK at the top of the file. And so I'm doing in this project, I'll run it in a second. I'll show you the insanity. In this, I am only using built-in Aspire types, but if I wanted to say Aspire add, someone in the chat, npm install as a command. So that's in the Node community toolkit package. So I could do Node, and then it should hopefully look for both of them. I don't know if it will. I might have to go back to add. Oh, no, it did. Amazing. Community toolkit node extensions, and then I can pick my version. It's going to add it into my single file because it just works with everything. And so this is how you do a package. You can do the same thing with like a project reference as you would in a CS proj. User secrets work with .NET RC2, which you can't get yet. I mean, you can get like the nightly of it, but don't. But pretty much all of the things that you expect to work for, an app that you could build in a file work. We're also working on being able to add single file apps to your app host as like a project that is orchestrated. So you can literally add like api.cs and have 2 files, and it's like a fully orchestrated Aspire solution. So I'm going to run this. Update doesn't work with single file yet. That's okay. We'll fix it. Oh, you can see me trying to figure out how Twitter auth works with Copilot. Fowler hasn't seen this yet.
Play browser history. You can see your chats.
My chats?
Your chats, yeah, you had in Copilot.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Whatever. You can see my Copilot chats. They're all just me being like, please help. I'm going to put in... I'm not going to do it on this screen because I'm not insane. Hold on. So I'm going to put in the aspire.dev blue sky username and app password to the Aspire dashboard right now. Where is it? This one, and then I need that. Okay. It's marked as a secret. Whoa. And now Aspire, the single app host file, is in fact connected to our blue sky using the @proto protocol. I am going to go to my custom command post, and I am going to uncheck this because it doesn't work. And then I'm going to say, hi from the Aspire dashboard during a live stream. And with an emoji, perhaps. Party, party, party. And then I'm going to hit OK. It's actually
the biggest hack ever. Did you use the dashboard as a UI for your app?
Aspire SharePoint CMS.
You missed the before stream preview of this.
Isn't this such a terrible idea?
That's some kind of abuse. I don't know what it is. This is illegal.
This is literally like, I don't know. Damien was the one who had the idea earlier today while Fowler wasn't looking at his phone, which is why he should never not look at his phone. He was like, why don't you just use the dashboard? Like, it's all server side. Then you don't have to do any of the like proper OAuth stuff. And I was like, so those are my demos. The two 9.5 features and one unhinged Maddie Thursday afternoon experiment. So
that's pretty cool.
Thank you. I need to figure out why it doesn't switch to the people the way it's supposed to, but that's okay. Yeah, Brian, people are already replacing PowerShell scripts left and right. It's no hate. I love PowerShell. I love IntelliSense more. So whatever. Oh my God, we have a guest who's arrived.
Okay, I have a demo. James! Damn, you better have a demo. I'm kidding. No pressure.
Hello.
Hi, welcome to the party. That was scary because Jose like literally just left, and I didn't know if you like. I don't know.
Have you ever seen
I
both
can
of them in the
demo
same room?
dashboard stuff.
Maddie was just doing criminal things with your baby.
So
I
let me show a 5-second demo, and then James, you do your
Yeah,
stuff.
show
I'm
us a
going to need to leave in
dashboard.
15 minutes. If
Same.
I don't know how long it will take.
Okay, perfect. So you can finish it off then.
Yeah, you wrap us up.
Also, let me not do what Safi did and not share my whole thing. Share entire screen.
That's very brave.
So
you need a second. I have a small mini monitor here purely for sharing my screen.
I do have, but
she's high tech. This is a single file outpost. So I have. And by the way, I just cloned this sample, and I spent like 5 minutes trying to figure out how to make Python work because Python is like really hard to make work. So
yeah, you're not using UV, and that's your problem.
I'm not. So I manual like Python VM. So I have a single file outpost that has create builder, the MCP inspector, a dev tunnel, a Python app, and I have an anonymous tunnel that anyone can access. That sounds scary.
Are you going to take down dev tunnels right now?
What on my machine? What do you mean dev tunnels? My machine. Okay. And then this app that I didn't write any code uses fast MCP to expose a couple of tools. So I have an add, echo, and a null tool. And you see this? I can't even find the thing. Like, where's the app?
Control-Shift-O, A.
Here.
O, A?
Here. Here's the app. App is running. I have a dev tunnel. I have the MCP exposed. You can go here and actually click on this right now. That would work on your machine. And
wait, what is the icon for dev tunnel?
Damien chose one that was from the list of icons.
Oh, we did like a custom one for the integration.
Using your feature.
Is that our first custom integration icon?
Yeah.
I assigned that to Copilot, and then it did it, and then I made James fix all of it and rewrite the whole thing.
So this is the inspector from the toolkit. It has the server wired up. Connect to it. I can list resources, list templates, list prompts, list tools. I can see the echo tool, the add tool, the null tool. This is like what everyone uses for looking at MCP servers. It's kind of like I want to say it's like open API, like Swagger UI for MCP. You just kind of explore the system, and then since we have a dev tunnel, I could do something like kind of crazy, but maybe I should do it in a separate window first, so you can't see my insane ChatGPT chat. And you can wire up with a dev tunnel a remote MCP server on ChatGPT. So the goal is, can I talk to my local machine using MCP? I'm going to turn on dev mode, and then everyone's going to hack my machine.
You're actually about to like let people hit a dev tunnel on your machine. Right?
You know it's going to be terrible. Like I'm going to forget it online, and it's going to get hacked. So there's this new feature in ChatGPT called developer mode. Lets you add MCP servers. So I can come here, let me hide my history so you can't see my chats. It's too late. It's fine.
Why is Maddie so mean to me?
How do I convince Safia to do what I want her to do?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Should we build our own CI pipeline?
No auth. I trust this connection, obviously, because like my live demo. And then the hardest part is to make it call your MCP server. I don't know. Create. It should work. It should hit my machine. It should say it's a good server. All good. Choose my live demo tool. Add two numbers using the MCP, please. This is literally calling my machine.
Can we confirm in the dashboard logs?
No, I didn't.
Not that I don't trust you.
You don't trust me? Okay, so it did that. Tool call response. In theory, maybe fast MCP will show me console logs. There you go. MCP. We don't have traces in this one because Python doesn't have. Don't ask me any questions, but we'll tell on Python. But that end-to-end is super cool. This link also I have this install MCP link for my MCP server. Click on it, it'll bring up VS Code and ask to install the MCP in VS Code. So I can just like start playing with it locally. Add to see me. I was trying to figure out how to install stuff with pip. And I think by mistake it installed like the wrong folder. So now my global Python install is tainted with like a bunch of garbage. Anyway, add two numbers using the MCP, please. Oh, will it no? Hold on,
Please.
no.
Spend some tokens saying please.
I have too many.
Oh my gosh, Adam's here. Hi, Adam.
There
Whole
you go.
party. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Sick.
Victor asks, what did we use to authenticate the dev tunnel?
Did he? Is every so the dev tunnel is pretty cool end to end. Let me show you what the experience actually is. So if I do dev tunnels, first of all, you have to install the CLI. If you don't have it installed, it tells you install via this link. So you get an experience for that. If I log out and I run it,
Zoom.
it says this. Authenticate. Choose one. It'll pop up something here. I think it was Microsoft. Logged in. And now it's starting. So there's a whole experience for like, you're not logged in or you don't have it installed. It tells you to install it. And then you install it. You run it again. You do auth. And then it does the authentication. And then you can just log in with GitHub or your MSA. And then it will start up the tunnel itself, and then individual, what we call tunnel ports. And then it all just works like magic.
That's so cool.
That's awesome. All right, that's me.
Mats is in the chat and he goes, I like that Matty says Zoom and you know what to do. Unfortunately, as every day passes, we all merge into one collective brain. There's no more free thinking.
The board.
Fine.
The
The
Aspire
board.
Cube.
Oh my goodness. Okay. James Newton King, not Montemagno, would you like to show us some dashboard goodies? And then leave like 1 minute at the end for Adam, because he's gonna like totally drop a bomb on everybody. It's gonna be amazing. How we're gonna close
Adam,
it.
bring the heat. Okay, Adam, you
He's
gotta
gonna
bring the
heat
heat.
to close it.
No
So
pressure.
you have 7.5 minutes. Go nuts.
All right. Share my
There
screen.
you go. You're up.
Okay. So I'm going to show off the Gen AI visualizer first.
Okay.
So,
Can you Control Shift plus like twice, please?
sorry, say that again.
Control Command Shift plus, whatever you do to zoom.
Better?
Yeah, there you go. Better.
You think we're on max?
Well, yeah, I'm
So we've
pro-
got
Hey.
a GitHub model resource. We've got a parameter. We've got a web front end. And when you visit the web front end, it calls the model and generates a story. And if we look in the traces, there are a couple of new features here. One is you can now filter by type. So something we can do is just say, show me the traces which have Gen AI. And there are a number of other options here, like you can just say database, give me the traces that involve talking to a database or messaging, whatever. If we click on this, you'll notice there's now this sparkle icon. So Gen AI, when a client does something, it will record telemetry, and OpenTelemetry has what's known as semantic conventions for a lot of common operations. One of those is doing Gen AI, like talking to an LLM, having a chat service, text-to-speech, image generation, that sort of stuff. If we look in the sidebar, if we open the details, we can see we've got a whole bunch of things added, including some JSON fragments. And here we can see we've got a tool call. So the visualizer takes that information and it presents it in a much nicer and easy to use way. Like JSON is okay to view, but what happens when the message is enormous? What happens when you've got Markdown in JSON? What happens when you've got JSON inside JSON? It all becomes escaped and it's hell to read. So this takes the inputs and outputs of GenAI and it breaks it up into an easy to use UI. So here we can see we've got our input messages, we've got a system message, we've got a user message, and here we've got the output from our GenAI. We can still view those details. So what we saw earlier is available in details. We've got some other highlights, duration, number of input and output tokens. We can also click on these if we want to look at them in more detail, copy them to clipboard. This particular operation, it actually involved 2 calls to GenAI. So the first one resulted in it asking to make tool calls. So it said, I want to call the generate names tool, and here is the argument. And this basically means I want to generate 3 names. And then if we click next, that will automatically navigate between the AI operations and the span. So in this case, we've got 2. We could close the dialog and reopen down here, but it's a bit of a pain. And here we can see the result. So again, we send another operation to the chat service. Now we've got more inputs. So we've got the original system message, the user message, the fact that the assistant was called. Here we can see the names that we generated. So these were generated on our local machine. And finally, we can see the result that we get back. And this is Markdown. So it's all nicely highlighted. You can see a whole bunch of links. This sort of matches what we asked for in our original system prompt. You're a story generator, format stories in Markdown, use bold and italics. Each sentence must include Markdown formatted links to Wikipedia about a topic in the sentence. So yeah, we can now see this, which if we compare that to viewing JSON, it's much nicer, and it can get nicer still. So we can click this little button here, and now we can actually see the formatted Markdown. So we can see what it would more look like in the end user. We can click on the link so we can find out what is a book according to Wikipedia and so on. And this works with text, obviously. It also works with multimodal messages, which basically means messages that contains something other than text. Like, for example, we're doing image generation. An image gets returned as either a URL or base64 encoded URL. This dialog will output that, and we can view it, and we can click raw here if we want. So that's the Gen AI visualizer. You get a lot of this information automatically if you're using the AI integrations. If you're using MEAI, you will also get this. Note that by default, the telemetry doesn't typically include this detailed JSON by default, because this can contain sensitive data. Like you might not want your messages being saved to whatever telemetry you have. Like Aspire is ephemeral. When it shuts down, all the telemetry goes away. But if you imagine you're deploying your app somewhere, you don't want this perhaps recorded to your telemetry. So you need an option to enable this. This is the source program CS for that web app. And here you can see we're adding that integration to use the chat client. And this is the resource name. By setting this flag, enable sensitive telemetry data, you start to get the more detailed information automatically. Pretty soon, probably the next version, we'll have this set to true automatically by default when you're running locally. And then it's up to you whether you want to enable it or disable it. And that's my demo. I've got lots more dashboard stuff I could talk about, but there's no time.
That's
Adam.
amazing. That was great. You nailed the timing. Okay, Adam. Oh, he just vanished. No, come back. Oh, he's back. Adam, you want to just
Adam, smart.
share your screen? Just show the thing in the thing, and then we'll just call it, and we'll let people go from there.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So I'm gonna go share my screen.
Yeah.
Wait, Adam, who are you?
Oh yeah, who are you?
Hi, I am also on the Aspire core team. I, with James, work on the Aspire dashboard. I also do a couple of other things, but mostly right now I'm working on a VS Code extension for Aspire. So the demo that I'm going to be showing you guys is something that hasn't been done before with Aspire. Currently, if you're in VS or VS Code and you want to debug, run an Aspire application, everything works fine for .NET. What we want to enable is for you to be able to bring your own language, use other languages as well. So this demo is going to be with Python, but soon we'll also have JavaScript and other languages. So awesome.
All
Okay,
right.
so we have this Aspire extension. There's a pre-release
It's
that we just
there.
published.
It arrived
there.
literally like 20 minutes before this started.
Yeah, it was a little late today, but it did happen. So we are going to be releasing additional ones off cadence with the rest of Aspire, just enabling additional functionality. But for this first release, we have a couple of different commands that you can do. Wrapping around the Aspire CLI, you can update your packages, you can add integrations, you can create and scaffold new Aspire projects. So all the goodies that you can do in the Aspire CLI, but now you can do it in a VS Code native way. The other thing is, I'm going to go ahead and share this little Aspire with Python sample application that we have. I have set a breakpoint here in the app post, and I also have this instrumented Python project, which is it's a Flask app. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run. There's a new Aspire debugger that we're going to run with. So ultimately, if you have something like C# dev kit, it's going to build within VS Code. That's the debug, or that's the build window that you just saw. So our app host breakpoint was hit. That's normal. You'd expect that. We're starting everything up right now. It's been started. We have this little Launch Aspire dashboard pop-up. So if we open it, and I'm going to go to the homepage of the Flask app we just ran. And if we go back, then our breakpoint was hit inside our Python application. So this is just a small sample, but we will also be coming out with support for Node and also browser applications. So very cool stuff.
Oh, the Python looked like, what's the debugger? Is that throwing shade? Is that too much shade?
That's too much shade. Be nice, David.
What is that line?
You just can't help yourself. You just can't help yourself. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No,
So
fine.
if you'd like,
If
you'd like to use
it.
the Aspire
Yeah,
extension, you're welcome to go on the VS Code Marketplace and install it now. You do need the Aspire CLI on your path available. We have install scripts for that. Yeah. That's all I have.
You don't need dev kit. So the C# extension you obviously need if you want to edit C#. Dev kit you need if you want to do full debugging of the app host. But if you just want to debug your Python and not debug the app host, you don't need dev kit. Go nuts, kids.
Yeah, or C#. You just need the extensions installed of, I guess right now it's just Python, but eventually it'll be whatever language you want to debug. No C# necessary.
I'm so excited. Adam, this is so good. I can't wait. Okay. It's super early. So just to be clear, like the only people who have used this extension are the people on this stream and the plus or minus like 5 people of the Aspire team outside of this, right? So we definitely, we're looking for feedback. We're looking for all of your thoughts and feelings. Everyone high five Adam. We literally like stuck him in the corner and we were like, can you like maybe make this extension work? And then we were like, we're probably never going to ship it, but just like see. And then we made him like stop for a month and then we made him start again. And then last week we were like, so can you ship it on Thursday? And so he's been abused at the hands of Aspire. But oh my gosh. I'm so excited.
This is a pre-release. We will be following this up probably 9/6 with an actual release. So yes, please share your comments, concerns, whatever, file issues.
Yeah.
Ping me in the Discord.
Go to
Okay. Amazing. Happy 9/5 day, everybody. So join the Discord. Go read the what's new. It's like 2,000 lines of markdown, so it's a good one. And then there was a blog that Jeff put out, so that's kind of like some of the highlights besides some of the ones we shared here. Fowler and I are doing an Aspire Fridays with Pine tomorrow while Damien's away. We're going to try and deploy Bingo again. So come see if we can figure that out this time. Maybe we'll use the extension. Ooh. And yeah, we'll see you at not 9.6, but the next one.
Next version. Whatever that becomes.
Oh, all right. See you,
Foreshadowing.
everybody. Bye.
Bye.